Hello Jeopardy! Fans, and welcome back to the channel. Get ready, because we are diving deep into the full spoilers highlights. And the final winner of the highly anticipated episode from Friday, October 24th, 2025. If you're here to find out who came out on top, you've come to the right place. We've got all the juicy details, from the toughest clues to the most shocking moments, so make sure you're settled in. Friday games are always special, often deciding who carries their momentum into the next week, and this one was no exception. It was a roller coaster of an episode, filled with brilliant plays and nail-biting wagers. Let's start by introducing our contestants. On the far left, we had a new challenger, a university professor with a specialty in ancient history. In the center, a software engineer from Seattle who shared a funny story about a coding mishap during the interview segment. And of course, our returning champion standing at the right podium, looking to secure their third consecutive win. The energy in the studio was electric from the very beginning, with all three players looking sharp and ready to buzz in. The Jeopardy round kicked off with some fascinating categories. We had literary first lines, world capitals, in the kitchen, before and after, and a fun one called Silent K Club. Our returning champion got off to a quick start, finding the first daily double early on in the world capitals category. They wagered a modest amount, clearly wanting to build a steady lead without taking too much risk. The clue was about the capital of Australia, and they correctly answered Canberra, adding a nice boost to their score. The other two contestants weren't far behind, though. The professor showed their expertise in the literature category, while the engineer dominated in the kitchen, proving they knew their way around both code and cooking. By the end of the first round, the scores were incredibly close, with the champion holding a slight lead, but it was still anyone's game. It was clear this was going to be a battle of wits right down to the wire. Moving into the double Jeopardy round, the stakes were, well, doubled. The categories got tougher, including 19th century innovators, Shakespearean quotes, geology rocks, and pop culture nicknames. This is where the game really started to heat up. The first daily double in this round was found by the professor under 19th century innovators. They were in third place and decided to make a bold move, wagering a significant portion of their score to try and leapfrog into contention. The clue was about the inventor of the telephone, and with a confidant who is Alexander Graham Bell. They successfully doubled their money, completely changing the dynamic of the game. The crowd loved the aggressive play. The momentum continued to shift. The second daily double of the round, and the last of the game, was uncovered by our returning champion in the Shakespearean quotes category. They had a comfortable lead, but knew the professor was hot on their heels. They made a strategic wager, enough to create some distance, but not so much that a wrong answer would be catastrophic. The clue was a classic. This play features the line, "To be or not to be? That is the question." Our champion correctly identified Hamlet, solidifying their lead heading into Final Jeopardy. The engineer played a solid round as well, picking up points consistently, but couldn't quite catch up to the top two. As the round concluded, the champion had a strong lead. The professor was in a solid second place, and the engineer was in third, needing a miracle in the final round. And so, it all came down to Final Jeopardy! The category was revealed as American Landmarks. This is always a broad and tricky category that can trip up even the best players. The contestants looked focused as they prepared to write down their wagers. The champion was in a comfortable but not completely locked position. A smart wager was crucial. The professor in second place knew they had a real shot if the champion stumbled. The final clue was revealed, dedicated in 1886. This gift from France was designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi and has a framework engineered by Gustave Eiffel. The famous Think music began to play, and you could feel the tension in the air. This single answer would decide who would be crowned the Jeopardy! Champion. Let's break down the results. First, we went to our engineer in third place. They had the correct response. What is the Statue of Liberty? And wagered everything, doubling their score. But it wasn't enough to catch the leaders. A great effort though. Next, we moved to the professor in second place. They also correctly answered what is the Statue of Liberty, and made a substantial wager that put their final score just above the champion's pre-final Jeopardy! Total. The pressure was now squarely on our returning champion. Did they get it right? And how much did they wager? The camera focused on our champion. Their answer was revealed, and it was correct. What is the Statue of Liberty? Now for the wager. They had played it perfectly, wagering just enough to cover the professor's potential maximum score. With their correct response and strategic bet, they secured the victory, making it their third consecutive win. It was a masterful performance, showcasing not just their knowledge but also their sharp gameplay strategy. Congratulations to our champion, who will be returning next week to defend their title. It was an absolutely thrilling episode and a perfect way to end the week. What did you all think of that final Jeopardy! Clue? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching this recap of the October 24th, 2025 episode of Jeopardy! I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of all the action. If you love Jeopardy! As much as I do, make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a recap. We cover all the highlights, spoilers, and winners right here. We'll be back for the next episode. Until then, have a great day and keep being curious.